I'm just going to get started by telling you what we're doing here today. So over the past several months, I've had the opportunity of speaking with a lot of the leaders of the event fandom industry. And I kept having all of these cool conversations that were really engaging, and even before we started shooting this video, like Ian and I almost got into a whole other one, and it happened so fast, and I just kept thinking, man, this is interesting stuff, and there are so many people that go to these events, and I'm not sure that they really know about the really cool people behind the scenes that are building it. So I decided, you know what, I need to set up a camera and record some of these conversations. And so Ian and I are here because we had several of these conversations before I said, okay, I need a camera, please. Just don't say one other word. But Ian, you have been in the fandom world for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'll let you introduce yourself, but even your next big endeavor, you just started your own business, Power Level Productions, and I'll let you, yeah, there it is. I will let you tell everybody about your specialty.
Cool. Yeah, so my name's Ian Tingen, CEO of Power Level Productions. We are a brand spanking new company, but we're built on a bunch of experience, not just mine, but the rest of my team. We've got a team of 6 people working out of the Long Beach WeWork here. It's where Danielle and I met. What I do is kind of behaviorally based production, specifically event production and marketing strategy. And we deal with a lot of pop culture brands, right? So the stuff that we've dealt with, you've seen our teams work at like Sundance, at San Diego Comic-Con, Anime Expo, Japan Week, New York City, kind of all over the country, all sorts of different kinds of things that people really love, or fandoms.
Right.
And then I'm also a psychology professor, but I think we'll talk about that a little bit later on.
Right. Cool. Okay, so you've had a hand in a lot of different of these fandom events, and so you've seen it as a fan, you've seen it behind the scenes. Now, when I tell people about what I do, and I try to tell people about Allcal and explain, okay, we're an events app that specializes for fan conventions, and if they kind of give me a blank stare, I'll always say, okay, have you been to one? Have you ever been to a fan convention? And they'll either say, most of the time they say, oh, I haven't, but a friend of mine has, or I see my friend posting on social media about it, and the first thing I say is, okay, you need to go to one. You need immediately, I don't care which one, but like you need immediately, just go. There's a million for every different type of group, but that's usually what I say to somebody who's never been to a fandom convention. My first question for you is, what would you tell somebody who's never been to a convention like this?
Right.
How would you describe it?
Well, you know, the funny thing about fandom is that, like, traditionally it's been something that's really been centered in a lot of these kind of pop culture things, right? So, like, movies, or film, or music, or video games, you know, the things that you would associate with, like, San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, Anime Expo. But the thing is that, like, the definition of fandom is kind of, it's opening up, right? Like,
yeah,
as more people are able to indulge in the things that they love more, and get connected, you know, via the internet and a bunch of other kinds of wonderful ways that we can talk to each other and kind of revel now. Fandom can be a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
You know, we've got the Long Beach Grand Prix happening here in a couple of months, right? I would say that racing is totally a fandom, right?
Fair.
You know, and if someone ever says, oh, I've never been to a fandom convention, I'm not a fan in that way, like, well, what do you like, right? Because the reality is that most people have gone to an event, or they've gone to a meeting that have other similarly minded people who like the same things that they do, and that's fandom.
Yeah.
Don't tell them, but that's fandom. You're a fan, right? And that's kind of the way that fandom is kind of coming out these days. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I feel like I didn't fully appreciate the concept of fandom before I started doing this, and then once I realized, it was like this whole world opened up to me, where I thought, oh my gosh, all of those things that I like a lot, I can expand on that.
I can go farther.
And I can go further
right.
in my fandom, and there's probably somebody out there that's on your level, and the event's probably already happening. And so yeah, I totally agree with you. I feel like it definitely opened up. Once you start to think of fandom as not just necessarily Comic-Con or an anime Comic-Con than
the stuff you've done with like DragCon, right?
Okay, well, yeah, that's some real fans there, that's for sure.
Right, but that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
Right? That's something that we wouldn't necessarily think is a fandom, but oh my God, they are fans.
Right.
Or like, you know, you look at the way that like people are talking about Lady Gaga, you know, coming back, right? Yeah, right. Like Mother Monster's back, right? Come on, have you ever been to a Lady Gaga concert before? Like people, and this is the thing, right? Even like concerts can be fandom events, right?
And from the industry side, this idea of community, I mean, it's really important. So it's obviously a big deal to the attendees when they're there and they feel it and they're really excited. But a lot of people in the industry, I mean, that's what you guys are trying to capture. Anytime I have these conversations with event professionals, they talk about community, you know, how we have this wonderful opportunity of a bunch of people in the same room loving the same thing. Now, what can we do to make sure that we don't lose that? What can we do to make that even more special? So my next question is, what do you see in the industry? What do you see people doing to try to capture that community and really give people that sort of positive validation that they're looking for?
Right. Well, you know, that's actually a really interesting question, because I feel like there's a lot of different things that people are doing, right? Everyone comes at it from a kind of a different angle. Some people have it kind of from a production side. Some people look at it from more of like an operational kind of like ticketing side. Like how do we get these people? How do we shape this traffic? How do we get these things done? But I don't think that there's been any one uniform standard that's come out, right? And this is something where like I might diverge from other kinds of people who are in events. I think that the smarter groups are the ones that are paying attention to their fans a lot more than themselves, right? Because there's a difference between programming something that you think will work and programming something that people will want to attend, right? Or that you're kind of receptive to taking their feedback and kind of shaping it towards them, right?
Yeah.
I tend to go with an attendee or a fan first kind of mentality, like bring them what they want, right?
Yeah.
And so if that means traditional panels, which it never is traditional panels, then you do traditional panels, right? Yeah, it's really the best strategies are focused on the people, and this is part of the reason that it's hard to give like a very specific answer, right? Because different people at different shows want different things, right?
Right.
You know, if you're at a Comic-Con in like Seattle, say, you might want a lot of like events that are kind of indoors and like focused on, you know, right? But if you're somewhere down here in like San Diego, right? You might want to have sunshine, and that's great for like cosplay shoots or like people doing stuff outside. So again, it's knowing where you're at and knowing what the people want.
Yeah, and I hear that all the time whenever I'm talking to my clients or talking to people about their events. I hear that all the time, that each one's different. Even if they, you know, somebody who is involved in 10 events, they'll tell you, well, each one's a little bit different.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we always have this conversation because, you know, Allcal is a platform. So Allcal is a tool that organizers can take advantage of to try to mold and meet their attendees, you know, where they are. And so like one of the things that we're launching very soon, we're about to launch our first Allcal Dashboard, which will keep all the real-time information of people who are on the floor and what are they engaging with, you know, which panels, what are they chatting about. And from our perspective, it's just a feeling of, you know what, everyone's different. This is where you go to kind of figure out the pulse of your event.
And
but then they have to make the decision to really go the next step.
And I mean, and what you're bringing up with like the pulse is really important, right? Because, you know, from the con runner's side, you can have like a gripe panel or, you know, whatever at the end of the show, and you'll have people come in and say, oh, your line sucked, or like the wait for this sucked, or you couldn't get around the exhibit hall. There's something different in knowing that like after the fact and being able to kind of like look at it like as it's happening in real time. Right? Because if you know where there are issues at in real time, you can send resources to address them. You can, you know, kind of work things out. You can go and talk to the people who have their panel next who are pissed off that your room's not getting filled up enough. Like, and having that pulse is really important. And that's something that, like we were talking before, I thought was like really cool, right? That's something that
it's hard to do.
It's
hard to do because, I mean, if you've never been to one, you need to go to one. But they're a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs as far as how much is going on. So that's hard to do from an organizer standpoint. But if there was, you know, that's what we're trying to build, is something that you can look and kind of get an idea of, okay, where should I be right now?
Right. And I mean, and something else just to bring up about the pulse thing, I think that is the greatest term for it, because remember, these are things where people are spending their time and their money. They're carving time out of their life to go and be a part of this thing that they love, right?
Yeah.
So everything is going to be a lot more intense for them. It's just going to be like, you said cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and I think that's about a 2 of like the 10 on the scale, right? But that's the thing, right? Everything is a little bit more intense, and that gets passed through to like the production staff. So it's one of those things where like the more information you have, the better. And even if you've got the best trained like line ops or security team, sometimes they're going to miss things.
Sure.
And you know, if you've got access to like the chat that's happening, like you can see it's like, oh hey, here's this issue. Maybe we should send a guy to check it out.
Right, absolutely. And there is like the pulse is strong, but it's good. I mean, it's like a good thing, and it's fun to be a part of. Right. And you do feel like a heightened sense of everyone around you is really excited right now.
They're so into this.
They're so into this, and then you're into it, and everybody's just, it's on the same level.
Just shape that.
So it's totally positive. You know, the whole experience. Everyone's having a lot of fun, even as people are kind of like running around like chickens with their heads cut off. I really couldn't remember that phrase all of a sudden. I don't know. I guess I've never really seen that in real life, although my family always likes to tell those stories, because I'm from Texas, so a lot of my like great aunts, they'll always tell those stories about snagging a chicken and but you're from Arizona. I don't know. Do they?
I've been on a ranch or two. I've been around chickens.
What's the most country thing you've ever done?
Oh, I worked on a cattle ranch on the Arizona-New Mexico border for a couple of weeks.
That'll do it.
Yeah. It gave me a real respect for the land and for the process of food. And you know, I hate to keep on bringing it back to like, you know, what we're talking about, but like
someone has to.
I never
love.
Right? And that's usually not me, so
the interviewer is not going to do it, so.
But no, you know, I learned so much from the ranch hands there, because like, you know, that was a ranch where like my buddy's dad owned it, and like they would go out every few weeks to like do things, but like there was the ranch hands there.
Sure.
I learned so much about cows. I really did not give a whit about cows before I went out there. But again, like these dudes were so into it, and it was just like, when you're with that energy, it is just so compelling. Right? Like anything can be interesting with the right fans, like talking about it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to learn about yearlings today. Why we brand them, and oh, this is the ecosystem of how the coyotes eat the rabbits, and then it's like I was just like immersed in it.
Right.
I have not gone back to any like animal husbandry books or anything since then, but I remember those conversations, right? I remember and that's really like I think why I do it and why you guys are doing this is to help capture that, and it's exhilarating, it's electric.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So another thing that you and I have talked a lot about is what's next.
Yeah. For
the industry, because you're definitely somebody who has the 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan.
Yes. I can, in very broad strokes, I can talk about a couple of things. One is they're going to, like, community is going to be more important than it's ever been before, right? You're not going to be able to get away with half-assing it. The future is again in these emergent experiences that will only happen that you can't get like sitting on your couch at home, right?
Yeah.
And as a secondary characteristic, that's also going to require people being genuine. Yeah. Right. Marketing and event production and just production of these events in general. You can't be fake about it. You can't look like a poser. You can't because people can smell fake exuberance from a mile away, right? It's that thing when you're there and people are genuine fans. It's electric. It's got a very unique experience to it, right? It's like, you know, the final lap on race day. It's watching a premiere with 1,000 other fans in downtown LA. If that doesn't feel genuine, then people are it's just peace, I'm out, right? Like so it has to be genuine. It's going to be community based, and in fact, you can look the shows that are growing the most and that have the most sustainable growth, and the brands that are showing kind of like sustained growth are the ones that pay attention to their fans, to their people, right? And again, think about fans in that kind of that broader concept of it's not just the Comic-Con nerds, it's the people who love a particular thing, right? So that's where the future is. It's within people, and it's a genuine future.
Yeah, I agree. So in honor of the people, of the people who love their things and love to get together with other people who love what they love, and really just the wide range of that you can find in this world, I put together a little game.
Okay.
And so I'm going to test your ability to sniff out the real, community and the fake one.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll start easy, but then
and then we'll get. She's got cards and everything.
I have cards. I have visuals.
That's
okay. Visuals. Okay. So which one is real and which one is fake? So is there either a yearly event where people chase a cheese wheel down a hill, or is there a yearly event where people chase a watermelon down a hill?
Oh, geez.
Which is real and which is fake?
I'm gonna go with the cheese wheel.
It's real.
Yes.
Good. Yes, it is real. It's happening in May. If you're interested. Number 2. So, is there a group of people that meet yearly to dress up as Audrey Hepburn? Or is it a group that meets yearly to dress up as Abraham Lincoln?
Oh, man.
Which one is real and which one is fake?
This is tough. Like
you kind of
you're not tricky. They're not like both real, right? There's nothing like that. Oh,
I mean, no.
Okay, so this is a one or the other.
Yeah, it's one or the other.
You know,
which one do people?
Oh, man, because see, it's one of those things where like if it doesn't exist yet, it will.
Sure.
Right? Like if there's not a group of people dressing up like Hepburn, there will be. If there's not a group of people dressing up like Lincoln, there will be.
Right.
You know what? I almost just cursed.
Yeah. I don't think that the network cares.
Yeah, the network doesn't care. Take that, YouTube monetization. Fucking A. I'm gonna go with A, but it's only by a hair.
It's real.
Yes. All right, there we go. Cool.
You would think that there would be one.
There has to be. Maybe it's just like only like 50 people right now or something. Right.
I don't know. I did some as part of my extensive research. I did Google for like 3 minutes.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I felt like if I couldn't find it within 3 minutes, that it must not be real. And this one, so it's the Association of Lincoln Presenters, and their annual conference is April 20th through the 23rd. So that is real.
What? No.
So is there a group of people that meet every year to honor the Rocky Horror Picture Show Festival, or do people meet every year for the Big Lebowski Festival?
See, like,
which one is real and which one is fake?
See, again, this is like, so like there's a group of people who meet every week down the street from my apartment to honor Rocky Horror, but Lebowski, like, oh man.
Which one is
You're out of your element, Donnie.
Which one is real and which one is fake?
You know what? Just because I'm Lebowski.
It is real.
Yes!
You did really good. 3 for 3. Good job.
That's powerful.
And I did try to be tricky here because people do meet, and I feel like that's probably why because it's like now can we just talk about the Rocky Horror Picture Show and how it's like the greatest example of lifetime of like fandom.
Yeah, right? No, that's absolutely like, I mean, how many, right? Like, no matter if they're like 5 people in the theater or 500 people in the theater, again, people are singing along, they're dressed up, they're
cool.
Right? And this is fandom to me. It's again, it's not something that people have like thought of as fandom, but this is, you're right. This is like an OG example of something that's been around for decades at this point.
Right.
Yeah, and so.
Yeah, my parents went to these.
Right.
I mean, and I still do. Like 6 months ago, I went to the one in Long Beach.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, it's but also this is also real. the Lebowski Fest. This will be their 15th year. I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing. So anyway.
White Russians will be had.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure that they do a lot of really weird, amazing things. But anyway, thank you for being on my first video. And
really fun.
Yeah, that was a great. We're gonna have to try to play. I'm gonna have to try to trip you up. Next time because I didn't.
See, now I'm just gonna be overconfident though. I'm 3 for 3. Like next round.
Right.
I'm sure you'll get me.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Well, thank you so much for joining. If you want to learn more about Allcal and what we do, we're going to be launching our dashboard here in the next few weeks, and I'll put a link in the video for you to learn more about that. Where can people learn more about you?
Find us, yeah. So powerlevelproductions.com. We're actually going to be having our grand opening for Power Level is going to be end of February, beginning of March. But you can find us on all social media, essentially, at Power Level Pro. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, if you're into streaming, just Power Level Pro.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me. This was like super fun. So,
Yay!
good job.
Bye! Or whatever will be the ending.
Yeah.